You are listening to the Real Men Feel Show with Andy Grant. Real Men Feel encourages men to allow and express all of their emotions. Despite what you may have been taught, all emotions do serve you. Real Men Feel is committed to engaging in discussions that most men aren't having, but you don't need to be a man to join us. The Real Men Feel Show is produced weekly for your growth and enjoyment. Listen to us on podcast platforms including iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and many more. You can also watch the show on YouTube by visiting realmenfeel.org/YouTube. Come back often and feel free to add the podcast to your favorite RSS feed or subscribe on iTunes by visiting realmenfeel.org/iTunes. You can follow us on Twitter at realmenfeelorg and at facebook.com/realmenfeelshow. All links mentioned in each episode are in the show notes found on the blog at realmenfeel.org. Real Men Feel is brought to you by the Good Men Project. Visit goodmenproject.com for more of the conversations no one else is having. Your reviews, comments, feedback, and participation are welcome during the live show and anytime in our Facebook group, on Twitter, or at realmenfeel.org. Now, let's get into this week's show. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Real Men Feel. This is your host, Andy Grant. And as always, Real Men Feel is brought to you by the Good Men Project. For more of the conversations most men aren't having, but they really all should be, check out goodmenproject.com and keep listening to Real Men Feel, past, present, and future shows. Today, really excited to have a guest joining us live from the UK. Is leadership communications consultant. I butchered that. He's a leadership and communications consultant. I could use some of that, it seems. Leadership and communications consultant, author, teacher, mental health advocate, and father, Darren Horne.
Hello, it's great to be here.
Awesome. We're really glad you can make it. And, you know, when I first, we connected online and talked about being on the show, and you really had a story that I was not familiar with at all. And it's about postnatal depression for men.
Yeah.
Because I've heard of, and here, I don't know, is postpartum and postnatal depression the same thing?
I think so. I've been on podcasts before and we've had with Americans and we've had the same conversation, but yeah my doctor said it was postnatal depression. So I just go with that.
Okay. Yeah. So it could just be a US UK tweak on how we'd like to call it, or whoever, maybe a US guy claims to have discovered it and called it the same thing. But again, I've certainly heard of it, but I had not heard of it for men. So tell me about your experience with that.
Well, I was in a very happy relationship. We did, we got married. We decided to have children. My wife said, because it wasn't on our radar, suddenly like a foghorn was going off in her head, and she was just like, I need to have a baby. I don't know what's going on, but I need to have a baby. I was like, okay, well, give me 6 months to get my head around it. And I started to filter in, because when you haven't got kids, you only notice them when they're annoying, like making noise in a restaurant or whatever. It's like, they're not cute. So I started to filter in like cute parents with their kid, or the kids being well behaved. I said, yeah, I can probably deal with that. And so we got pregnant very quickly. And then Evie was born, all planned. We were doing fine financially and everything. And then she was born, and it wasn't what I thought it was. And I genuinely thought every father was like, oh, it's the best experience. You must be so happy. I thought they were spouting propaganda because they'd messed up their lives and they were only going to get joy by dragging more men into that new hell. And there was, there's whole elements. I think my wife had to stay in hospital overnight for the first night. And I just went home. I was like, cool, I'm going to play Xbox and drink some wine. And as time went on, it was very clear something was wrong. Like you have the stuff you're going to expect to have. Like suddenly it's not all about you. Your ego takes a kick in. No one really talks to you. You're kind of invisible. Obviously, you're getting less affection and less love, and all the love is aimed at the child. And that's all like very selfish ego stuff, I would expect. But it was just, there was no color in my life. And if I could see this like love in this bubble with like my partner, my daughter Evelyn, and her and Emily's parents, and I was just be on the outside, but like, why aren't I feeling that? And I said some pretty horrific things. I was not a good person. And then one day someone at work said, I think you've got postnatal depression, you need to go to the doctor. And I had been on a journey for like maybe 18 months or so, where I was practicing mindfulness, kind of through martial arts, and I was pretty happy to speak about my feelings. So I was like, okay, that's great. I'll go to the doctor, because if he says that's what I've got, that means I'm not a bad father. I'm not a horrible person. It means I'm ill. And I had a phone conversation, and the doctor was like, yeah, it sounds like postnatal depression coming. And he was a father too. And he was like, look, this is what you've got. It's going to take you, it's probably going to go away as you get used to your new role, and you'll kind of fall into it. And I was like, okay. He's like, do you want to go on antidepressants? And I was like, no, a little bit of a stigma around that. I was like, no, I think I can deal with this. I'm arrogant. I was like, I know mindfulness and I follow Stoic philosophy. So now I know it's not me, I'll deal with this. But it got a little bit better, but not great. And it took me till basically 11 months to decide I was going to properly fight back and try and save my family. But, a lot of damage was done.
Wow. So did it really kick in just that first night you went back home and now I'm a dad, and it just felt different?
Yeah. The thing is, it didn't feel different. I think that's what it was. It was just like, well, I'm me. And I just didn't feel any attachment. And Evie was adorable, and I adore her to bits now. Like, I'm so smitten. It's insane. Like, I just, she's everything. But I was just like, this is a nuisance. This is a chore. This is bugging me. And I wasn't feeling anything at all. I was like short-tempered and snappy, and almost like there's like a radiation of the threat of violence around me. It was just, it was pretty scary.
And with those sort of reactions, was that something you had experienced prior? Did other situations bring that out of you, or?
That's a really good question, because I think when I was fighting back, not fighting is the wrong word, when I was trying to deal with it, I had happy days, and I was like, ooh, this is new. Like, I've never been just happy and content before. I was like, I've never had this ever. So, and I started to put things together for my whole of my life. And I was like, actually, I've had depression probably most of my life. I just thought that was life. I thought that everyone was just like, oh, life's a bit crap, but you can watch movies and that's okay. And I had social anxiety my whole life. But it was the postnatal depression that made that kind of kick in and made me realize it.
Oh, so this was kind of you needed like an obvious trigger for you to kind of look at yourself and go, oh, I've always felt shitty at times, and maybe it's...
That's exactly it. It's exactly it. And looking back, it was pretty damn obvious. But you just don't, it's a guy thing, isn't it? We're just not that introspective. We don't kind of look within ourselves and think, why am I feeling this way? We just think it's, it's a lot of darkness in us, or put into us by society.
Yeah. So I have history of depression and suicide attempts even as a kid, and I do not have children, so I can't relate to that part of it, but I can certainly relate to the depression part. And since this came as a surprise, I'm sure no one talked about this beforehand as, oh, you're going to be a dad, you might want to be aware of this.
I tell you, what was amazing, the biggest pain I've ever had in life are things I didn't know about, and that are really, really common. So before we had Evelyn, we'd actually had a miscarriage, and it was very early on, but we made all the mistakes you can make. Like, we guessed she would be a girl, we named her, we were planning Christmas with a baby, because we did everything right. We ate the right things, took the right vitamins, no one was smoking, no one was like drinking, and then we had a miscarriage. I was like, no, wait, I thought that happened to people who like smoke during pregnancy or make a mistake. And that hurt like hell. And as when we started talking about it, everyone was like, oh yeah, I've had 2 miscarriages. Oh yeah, I've actually had 3. I was like, why does no one talk? Like, we would have been nice to have that on our radar, that there was a possibility. And then same with postnatal depression. Once I started talking about it, my brother and my father, I think, both said they thought I might have it. One of my brothers is a Royal Marine, so he was in Afghanistan, I think, at the time when he told him. And he went back to his unit and said, oh, my brother's got postnatal depression. And I think 2 or 3 of the unit were like, yeah, I think I had that. Like, anytime a guy almost runs away from the situation, that might be the case. Like, one of the things I did is I threw myself into my work. So I was out of the house all the time. But I was like, no, I'm being a good father. I'm providing. I'm going to make money and things. But I just didn't want to be at home. So it can be hard to spot in that way. But yeah, it's much more common than I thought. And which is kind of why I've also been raising awareness, because it breaks my heart when I hear about a father leaving their family like 6 months into the birth of a child. And I just think, you don't know what you're missing. Like, if you could have just hung in there or got help to get to, like, the first 6 months is kind of like an alien being. Certainly the first 3 months, it's like a purple gremlin or something. But then like personality starts to show, and they start to recognize you and laugh, and then they just become a joy. And we have separated, but we're very, very close. It's very amicable, and I see Evie all the time. So I just want to raise that awareness so that people don't throw away something just because they're ill.
Yeah, because it sounds, and I see this over and over for men when one man is kind of brave enough to admit, wow, this thing's going on and I don't know what to do with it, or I'm really dealing with this, and other people say, oh yeah, me too. Yeah. And like, but it's almost like beforehand, it like people don't like, hey, I think I'm really feeling depressed over something. Does anyone else have that? And,
Exactly.
Like, we almost like we're willing to admit things only after a lot of pain.
Yeah, absolutely. And because it feels, we're indoctrinated to be strong and not talk about our emotions and not make mistakes, and we don't want to be laughed at. And like, one of the silliest things I've done is I didn't want to marry my wife, like, who is amazing and way out of my league. And I had that moment of like mindfulness, like, okay, what is it? Why don't I want to do this? Like, I want to spend the rest of my life with her, so why don't I want to get married? And it turns out I didn't want to say the vows in front of people in case I cried. And I didn't want to do the first dance because I don't dance. When you say it out loud, that's idiotic. It's like, if you cry at the people that love you, and if you can't dance, it's not really dancing at a wedding. You just hold each other close, because you kind of haven't been talking to each other the whole wedding because you're all off doing things. And then it's like, oh, there you are, my wife. How are you doing?
Right.
And then you just kind of rock.
Yeah. That's the night you're the star. You can go dance good or bad. You can bawl every moment. It's all up to you. You're calling the shots.
Yeah, exactly. So I think sometimes we create a fear when there's no fear. And that's an issue with like anxiety mainly. If you pull it out of your head and say it out loud, it's like, what am I worried about that for?
So you mentioned that before you realized what was going on, you dealt with this depression and anxiety by trying to run away and really working more than you needed to.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was working long hours, and I would just go out a lot, and I would leave. I think on the first day back with the baby, which is a weird experience anyway, I was like, I'm going to go to work. And I didn't have to, because it was like entrepreneurial, like it was a martial arts studio. But I just left. So I left my wife, who was overwhelmed as well and scared and all that kind of stuff on her own. Like 20, 30 minutes later, her parents turned up, but it was, it wasn't a good time.
So once you got the help and realized, oh, this is a thing. It's not just, I'm not just being a dick. I'm not just an asshole. Something's really happening.
Yeah.
What did you do with that knowledge? What did you do to overcome this or get through it?
Well, I like playing computer games. So, what I've learned from computer games, if you're playing like a role-playing game and you come up against like an end-of-level boss, and depression is the mother of all end-of-level bosses. Like, it's going to kick your ass. But what you do in a game, like role-playing games, is you get all your companions together. You use every single scroll, every single spell, every single weapon. You're eating like apples and pies to kind of get your health back up. Like, you use everything. So I was like, okay, this is late into the battle. I'm going with everything. So I went on antidepressants. So to see if they would work. I overhauled my diet to the ketogenic way of eating, where you eat tons of fat and no sugar. And that really did, I think, had an impact. I started reading more and finding mentors. There's a great, I knew that Stephen Fry had talked about mental health. There's an author called Matt Haig, whose book, Reasons to Stay Alive, is phenomenal. And that really helped me. I started kind of going out in nature more. I also started studying more about mindfulness, meditation, and stoicism. And one of the biggest things is I went and trained and became a neurolinguistic programming practitioner, which talks about how the language you use with others, but also internally, defines your reality, and how your thoughts define your reality. So, and there was another great book I read called The Chimp Paradox, which talks about the parts of your brain. And there's like the chimp, which is very powerful, but paranoid and anxious. Then there's a human part and like the computer part. And you've just got to train train the chimp. And a lot of the time the chimp, which is usually the thing that causes fuels the depression and anxiety, is tired or hungry or wants friendship. So now whenever I have a bad day now, I'm like, okay, am I getting depressed? Have I eaten enough? What have I eaten? Have I had enough sleep? Have I had enough water? So like fulfill the basic needs. So it's just like a soldier armoring up. And even down to anchoring techniques. So my kid brother, the Royal Marine, has sent me his boots and socks and stuff. So these boots have been to like Afghanistan and Sierra Leone and it's dread to think where else. But when I'm wearing his boots, I'm like my brother. And my brother Adam is like one of the most kind of charming. Like if you pick him up and put him in any situation on the planet, he's like, okay, cool, what's going on? Like fearless. So because I was wearing his boots, I'd feel a little bit better. So, I mean, there was a lot of stuff I was doing, and I don't know which one worked the best, but I certainly know that anchoring techniques in terms of what you're wearing, how you hold your body even, the language you use, like, oh, I have to change a nappy now. You change it to, I choose to change this nappy because I love my daughter. Right. And like, if she rips or if she spills something or whatever, we don't get angry. She's doing an experiment, and she's just pouring water. Like, what happens if I do this? Well, my TV breaks, but you found that out. So, awesome. Neural linguistic program definitely helped.
So, and it's quite a cliche that, you know, in every challenge there's a gift, but it really sounds like, you know, your daughter showed up to throw you into depression so that you could really wake up and realize how much better life could be.
And I think that's a nice way of looking at it. Like, just why I don't like the phrase, like, you know, fighting your depression, because fighting is like harmful. It's and it suggests something you might lose. It's not something you really, it's like the weather. You just batten down the hatches, wear appropriate clothing, and wait for the storm to pass. But it's also part of you. Like anxiety is a good example, because anxiety just wants to keep you safe. It's like, dude, that's dangerous. And you're like, is it? It's like, how bad is it going to be? But in your head, it's like, yeah, that's atrocious. These people are saying this about me, or what if this happens, or what if I lose my job? And you just got to bring that kind of element of reality into it. And I think it's easier to deal with stuff when you thank it. Mm-hmm. So if you're like, okay, thank you, anxiety. I get what you're trying to do. I don't need you right now, and I have got this. I can get a flip chart and show you all the evidence of when we have done that before and we survived. Like, we can do it again. Like, whether it's something like this, or if you get nervous over a presentation or whatever. And I'm talking at this point, it's like low level anxiety. Like, I've had the full on anxiety attacks where you're in hell. But again, I think medication helps with that. I started using bark flower oils. Have you heard of those? No. And you just like, there's ones for all types of different things, but they can help. Mm-hmm. I'm now also trying CBD oil. I'm just always adding tools to my toolbox, because as you know, if you're deep in depression, deep in anxiety, you're just in hell. It's horrible. So
if you want to change anything or feel different, you've got to be willing to do different things.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you need them around you, because the depression is like, oh, it's too far away. Yeah. Like, don't go to the bathroom together. It's too far.
Yeah, so it's not worth it. You're not worth walking those 5 steps.
Exactly. And then you need, thankfully now I've got loads of wonderful people in my life, loads of coaches as well. And everyone's really understanding, because I think with anxiety as well, sometimes I just need to take a break. I think I'm an introvert, so social interaction drains me. So sometimes I'll just go upstairs and just disappear for 20 minutes, and then I'll come down and I'm okay. And people around me understand. Anyway, I can't remember what the original one, it was original question was, but that's my long answer.
No, it was good. It was all the ways to deal with it. So that's good to have a long answer for, because there's limitless ways to deal with things. Yeah. But much like you, when I was depressed and suicidal, I didn't think it was like, I thought I was depression.
Yeah.
This is Absolutely. Just me. And the days I was happy, those were the lies. That was, I had a good day. No, that was the trick I fell for, the scam, like whatever it is.
Yeah.
But now it's, I find that feeling depressed or anxious is kind of my own internal navigation telling me that I'm out of alignment, my head and my heart, or what I really want to do and what I'm tolerating. Everything's out of whack.
That's exactly right. There's a thing in NLP called neurological levels. And a lot of the time it's your identity doesn't fit with your environment or what you're doing or the people you're surrounding yourself with. And you just don't fit. You don't quite fit in your life. And frustrating as it is, me separating from my wife, I fit this life now. Like, I love her to bits. I love my daughter like crazy. But I'm kind of content living on my own. And so we had drifted apart. But I fit where I am now, and I like it a lot.
So I want to ask, like, has the divorce brought on, depression, anxiety, or now you have all the tools to kind of handle any change much better? Or
yeah, I think a lot of time mental health is preventative. It's because like when you get really bad anxiety, I'm like, okay, get rid of the coffee, get rid of energy drink, stop alcohol. And then the anxiety goes away. I'm feeling okay. I could probably chance a coffee. And it's like playing, you're always just pushing the barriers. Like, I think I'm well now. It's fine. Sorry, what was the question? What did you say?
Just has the divorce brought up some depression, anxiety, or was that?
So I went very preventative, which is why I started going on CBD oil. Yeah. Hanging out with my daughter is amazing. I'm watching it. And I had a bad depressed day the other day. Everyone could see it, but it was mainly because I'd done a lot of training that day and I hadn't eaten properly, so my body was knackered, had no energy, and then it just kind of creeps in, and then it's like, this is rubbish. You're going to fail. This is going to work out. But it's just I think Alcoholics Anonymous do this thing where the 12th step is you sponsor someone else and you help someone else. And apparently, if you quit at any point before the 11th step, you're probably going to drink again. But there's something about helping someone else that, because we like other people more than ourselves a lot of the time. So what I started doing is just helping other people. And so and because I want to help other people, I'm still researching ways to be mentally healthy. So, you follow people like Mel Robbins has, somebody else actually, Vanessa Van Edwards, I think, who says every time at a red light, she runs through all the things in life that she's grateful for. So I do that now. Every time I hit a red light, I'm like, okay, what am I grateful for? And it becomes automatic. And all these little like raindrops of positivity and good techniques are going to keep you in it.
Because we all have these negative rituals that we're not aware of. They just happen and we think that's life. And so when you take the effort to create some positive rituals, the power can just impresses me all the time.
And you probably have the same thing with me. Like, sometimes you'll talk to someone and you just hear like negative language and a negative worldview, and you think you're doing that to yourself. Like, you're creating that negativity. You don't need to speak like that. Even if it's like, car insurance, it sucks, it's ripping us off. So, no, it isn't. Like, don't get emotionally attached to car insurance. Get emotionally attached to people. It's like, this is not worth your time or your effort to worry about it. It's like, either can you find cheaper car insurance? If so, go do it. If you can't, stop whining. But we love to.
For me, it took me a long time to get this, but it's about responsibility. I used to think responsibility and blame were like the same thing. But when you can take responsibility for how you feel, for how you talk, for how you see the world, how you see yourself, then you can change it.
Yeah.
But if you just want to blame yourself for everything, then you're just crippling yourself.
Or blaming other people. We do, that's my parents' fault, or that's my ex's fault. It's like, well, if you're going to blame everyone, I think Tony Robbins says this, if you're going to blame all these people, you need to thank them for who they've made you become, which is, whatever, a strong, kind person or whatever. It's like the negative experiences can also be beneficial sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, there's the chance for growth in everything you face that seems difficult or a challenge or you don't like it. And you can either go, and that's what I always did. Like, my worldview was, well, life sucks, then you die. So why bother to wait? And that's what you're doing. I'm just going to die later. Everything sucks. What am I waiting for?
Yeah.
But life can be freaking awesome.
It is regularly. You just have to focus on that stuff. Like, there was the awesome moon last night or the night before. Like, if I kind of killed myself in my early years, in my early 20s, I wouldn't have got to see these new Marvel movies. Or like Skyrim, like the amazing immersive games. And now there's going to be virtual reality kind of getting better and better in the next 10 years. I really want to see what happens. And in terms of like life and adventures. Like I don't know what happens after death, obviously, but I really want to experience as much as I can while I'm here.
Yeah.
So it's like, cool, I'm going to get to experience, being divorced and going through this, and it might be negative, it might be positive, but I want to have the feeling and I want to have that experience. It's almost like if this was a game, I want to go play every kind of DLC and see what's out there.
Yeah.
And that's just fun. And I like when we play a computer game, if we complete it, we raise the difficulty and play it again. Like, we want a challenge. Like, if everything in our life, if you're a sports person and I said to you, right, every single time you compete, you're going to win, you wouldn't want to do it anymore. So I like having the challenges. And I do see it as a computer game metaphor. Like, I want to up my stats.
Yeah.
So like, I get better at talking on podcasts like this because I do it as often as possible. I'm better at managing my emotions because I've had some serious freaking battles. I've had some volcanoes erupting inside me. So to deal with anger now, that's easy, because anger is like a petty emotion way below depression. It's like, it just puts everything into perspective.
Yeah, I love that. And I've, said, I have never heard it twisted to just that life is a computer game and uplifting. I love that metaphor. And because so many people, and I was like this too, I treated life like it was a sentence.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm alive. Oh, I'm screwed. Like, thanks life. But oh wait, it's a game. And yeah, I want to try as many different things as I can and be as many different characters.
Exactly.
And all. Yeah.
Because that's what you do. Like, there's a game, whether it's a role-playing game like Skyrim, like if I'm in a town in Skyrim or like Fallout, I'll go talk to everyone in the town in case they have something interesting to say. But I'll be at a party and won't talk to anyone. So that doesn't make sense. This is actual life. All these people could contribute something. Or I'd go exploring. Like, my wife would come in and say, "What are you doing?" "Oh, I'm heading up this mountain." "Why?" "I just want to see what's up there." But I haven't explored like that street over there out my window.
There's an actual mountain over there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Go see what's up there. There's so many things that we can learn from computer games. And we want to explore the whole game as well. Otherwise, we don't feel like we've got our money's worth.
Yeah.
And we want to do different things.
And seeing it as a game, it takes away that whole victimhood mentality that it makes people ripe for depression and anxiety and a host of other just horrible shit, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you put your quarter in, or if you invested in your $300 game system and you're ready to go, like you've invested in it. It's not a trap. It's not. Yeah. You're not screwed. It's no one doing anything to you. There's no one to blame.
No. And
robbed and beat up in the game.
And you pick your battles. Like, it's and that can be quests. Like, for example, say doing a TED talk or something, or building $1 million business or something. Right out the gate, you're not that good. Like, you're in the town, and I like this other, like the movie metaphor. So we're all the Hobbit in the Shire, or on District 12, or Luke on Tatooine, and we don't want to leave because that's out of our comfort zone. That's where fear is. And even Luke is like, "I want to get off of here. I want to go join with this." And then Ben's like, "You should come with me then." He's like, "Oh no, I've got to stay here and be a farmer." It's like, you've been talking big about leaving the planet, and now when you've got the opportunity, the fear kicks in. Good, because that means that you're on a quest that is going to challenge you, and so you're going to get experience points. But if you go on too big a quest, it's going to collapse. So it's always just judging, like, where's my skill base here? Can I achieve that, or is that out of my ability level? And I love that process. Yeah. And you can see people, you'll meet them, who have just coasted their whole life. And I ran a cinema for a while, for 8 years. So for the first 6 months, I learned how to run a cinema and how to project films. It was all 35mm, and then the culture and the community. And then I just coasted and didn't do anything. And then we had digital. It's changed to digital. It's interesting. I'm learning again. And then it's just coasted.
Yeah.
It's in any of us, in any job you're in, or any communication you have with somebody, there's chances to just get those experience points, and that's how you grow.
Yeah, we gotta jump on those mushrooms, eat the energy points, all those things.
Yeah, certainly.
But yeah, and you're right. Like, life, like, I've heard people complain, like, "Oh, life is so challenging." Like, if it wasn't, you'd be bored to hell. It's
exactly right.
Yeah.
And if you start seeing things like that, like in the hero's journey, they're called like threshold guardians. But we're not going to fight dragons in real life. But depression's a freaking dragon, and like that bigger level. But also a receptionist can be like a low-level stormtrooper. And we use language like this. We say, oh, that person's a witch, that person's a troll. Good. Like the biggest fear people have about doing what we're doing right now is getting trolled. And I want the trolls because I'm the hero of this journey. It's like, that's how I grow. And I'd rather, I've got some skills to deal with it. Your ex is sorry, someone just said in the chat room, oh, my ex is a dragon. In a good way, I hope. So yeah, it's if you start seeing yourself as a hero on the journey, you start to have responsibility for those around you as well. Yeah. And I think it's not just, one of my big things was becoming a father, but I think people can have those epiphanies in a whole host of different ways. But I need to make the world a better place for my daughter. And once you've had a kid, you realize that all kids are pure and innocent and lovely. And then they're programmed to feel bad because there's so much money to be made by their unhappiness. And so it's like, you've got to buy this product, you've got to buy this. You've got to get your beach body ready. It's like, the beach doesn't care what you look like. Are you on the beach? You've got a beach body. That's it. And they want us to be exhausted from work and not be able to build up side hustles and kind of get out of the grind. And that's not how it should be. I don't want my daughter to, no parent picked up their child and said, wow, I hope they get a job working 40, 50, 60 hours a week that they don't like until they die. That's not why we're here. Yeah. So you've got to be the hero. You've got to find ways to hack the system.
So if we're not here for that, so what would you say if somebody's like, well, then Darren, what am I here for? I
think, I don't know the exact element, but I do like referencing kind of films and games and stuff. But like Elon Musk says, there's I think 80% chance this is a simulation. Because if technology is going to keep getting so good, this actually might be bad graphics. Like, well, some people might come out of this and be like, oh, this is the world. Like, can we get feelings of deja vu, like if you're in the Matrix? Oh, that was a glitch. But also like a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, where they says that the Earth is a computer trying to work out the meaning of life. And I love that idea, that we're all these conversations are just like running simulations and running variables and trying to work out why we're here. But I think the main way I see it as to why we're here is to come to terms with our mortality and to find a way to. Another way of putting it is, when you're born, I see us as like a glass of clear water, and very, very quickly it gets polluted through. And I always see it as like dark side Jedi stuff, though, through negative emotions and bitterness. And you can see people who have those emotions, and it almost cripples their body as well. Like, it changes the way they hold themselves. So I think one of the tasks of life is to get to the other end pure. And I don't mean kind of sin-free. I mean like content, and like you sit there and like, if I passed on now, I had a good life. And everyone knows how I feel about them. I have no anger or resentment. I'm not taking any negative baggage with me to the next place, or, if that's the end, that's the end.
So it's the notion that kind of society, culture dirties us, and it's our job to purify ourselves.
Yeah, it's the other way of looking at it is raise your shields to stop the negativity getting in. The media being like, you've got to be scared of immigrants, you've got to be scared of terrorism, you've got to be scared of cancer. It's like, there's a great podcast I listened to, I think it was, I can't remember what it's called, but he said, what are you scared of? And the answer is, whatever I decide to be scared of today, because I will be scared of things that I think I'm scared of. So right now, I through my thought process, I could convince myself I have like cancer now. I could start looking on Google and be like, man, I got these symptoms, and start to get really scared and paranoid. Or I could just not do that. I could start to be scared of a crime in this area, be scared of being mugged. I'm not saying that you're not wise, and you don't be idiotic, don't go looking for it, but I get to decide what I'm scared of by thinking it. So, and I think if you can manage your thoughts in that way, and I guess that's another way of looking at it, it's not mastery, but it's just the ability to manage your body and your mind. It's almost like we've kind of gone into this body, and we just need to work out how it works. And you see babies do this really well with their bodies. Like, okay, I'm walking, okay, I'm picking stuff up. That's how you unscrew stuff. But they're not great at it with their emotions. So it's like they're drama queens. It's wonderful. But then as adults, we could become slaves to our emotions. We don't want to be slaves to our emotions. I know that was a lot of answers in there, but I genuinely think it's that moment of how many people can't sit quietly in a room with their thoughts? How many people need to put music on or the TV on or something to distract them from their thoughts?
Right.
And it takes training, but I think if you can just sit and be like, okay, let's see what happens and just see where my thoughts go. But I'm sure the answer is different for everyone.
Well, again, it takes a lot of courage to just follow your thoughts, because so many people are operating with all sorts of fears. And they don't want to experience them. They don't want to feel that fear.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what I found in my life is when I'm willing, whatever emotion shows up, if it's fear or happiness, shame, whatever it is, if I'm willing to feel it the moment it's there, it passes really fast. But if I'm like, oh no, that's not the place. No, I don't want to feel that. Then it lasts and lasts and lasts and fights to get back here. That's
it, because you started fighting with it, right? It's like, you know, it takes two people to fight, or two elements to fight. So if you're just like, if you don't get emotionally attached to it, so you know, and I don't want to be kind of blasé about it. Like, if you're in a deep depression or anxiety, I get it. Like, that's bad. But you've just got to wait for that slight break in the clouds and be like, hey, can I drink a glass of water? And it's okay, I've drunk a glass of water, and then maybe you stay in bed for a little bit longer. It's like, okay, can I at least text a friend to kind of get a conversation going? Can I put on my favorite music? And it gets easier now, like with voice activation. You can just be like, hey, Alexa, play happy music. It's like, okay, now that's happening. It might, you know, in my experience, sometimes it can take a couple of days to dig your way out. Yeah. But the more tools you've got,
right? That's the key. And I know for me, even when I had tools and do stuff, that it'd be like, you know, one bad day, and I would be, well, I'm used to depression. Here it all comes, and you'd almost expect it, and would make it show up, and I wouldn't use all the tools I had. Like, well, I'm not worth that effort. All those things I do to make me feel good. Who am I to feel good? And it was so easy to slide back down. And I think if you're prone to depression like that being prone to something, the slide's always going to be there.
Yeah.
And it's about catching it, noticing it, letting people know, I feel like I'm sliding down, you know.
That's it. And having that faith, because you've done it, right? You've done the battle. You're a high level, like level 40 warrior right now. Like we're veterans, we're mentors now, which is why we do this. Right. So, you know, when depression came back a few days ago, and my ex-family was like, are you okay? I was like, this is nothing. Like, I'm going to get rid of this in a couple of hours. Like, I've had way worse than this. This is just like a scouting party, just probing my defenses, and I'm going to raise them all and tell it to bugger off. And that's what you do.
You know, we've got quite a few members of Darren's paid support group here, his professional fan club, and I just want to share some of the comments. So, you've got to think the meaning of life is to create a life you'll be proud of. That works for a lot of people. Be the source of light to blind the darkness.
That's good.
And a lot of people liking the video game metaphor is awesome. People talking about, you know, they want to fix their stats. You got to use practice, unlock all the tools to beat the next level.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, so it's all awesome. One thing I want to point out and ask you about, in just what you spoke of, you just said, like, my depression came back yesterday.
Yeah.
And said, and this is something I had to work on. Well, no, then that wasn't depression.
Sure. Okay.
Right. Oh, I was feeling down, or like I'm feeling whatever apprehension, frustration. I'm feeling some emotion that might be on the negative pole of emotions, but it's not depression.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's interesting.
Unless you're truly like on your knees, bawling, and I can't do anything.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay, so I get there's some validity to that. I guess it was, like I said, a scouting party. So it wasn't depression, but it was the scouts. Yeah. Just being like, if you don't do something, you're going to start heading down a road where you don't want to go.
Right.
But I get what you're saying, because people, that's one of the issues you have, right? In mental health is always taken seriously, because people overuse the word, I'm so depressed, or I'm so anxious. It's like, well, you're just a little bit stressed right now.
Yeah, right.
Whereas you're right, like, I can have a little bit of anxiety, but man, I remember breaking down in the kitchen and bawling, like not being able to breathe, just horrendous.
And
so
I can
yeah,
find to sit with my own thoughts if I'm like, I feel that like, well, all right, well, what am I avoiding? Like, what am I afraid of that I haven't named yet that might be lurking? What is it? And again, it's that willingness to feel can put off that, that blind, unhinged anxiety or depression. If you're willing to feel what's, all the steps before you get there, because they're there. It's not just one day, boom.
Yeah.
It can feel like it, but it's because we're not aware of everything else that's been shifting in us.
Exactly right. And sometimes, I think there's another metaphor where they said, like, it's almost like you're in the water and people are handing you weights, and it could just be a tiny piece of stress that they then drop on, and that's what pushes you under. So you can overreact to like the smallest thing. Yeah. And sometimes, like, I remember, feeling kind of stressed or anxious or heading down that path, and then like an email came in and it went away. I was like, hey, that was the source, that email, that I was worried about that. But at the same time, as we know, sometimes you never know what the cause is. Yeah. It's just,
it's funny they mentioned email, because that when I first started meditating, I noticed my change was in response to email, because I used to be at work and getting emails like, oh, I'm getting asked the same things. Why are these stupid people asking me the same things day after day? And I realized, oh, that's my freaking job, to like help all these dumb people get things accomplished. Oh, well, that's different. Now, oh, good. Here's someone else who's lost. I can help them. I have a job.
That's it.
Until then, I was like, every email pissed me off, and it's just words on a screen. It's not even. It's just scribble marks. Like, why am I having an emotional reaction to this?
That's it. Yeah. And then you did it really well. You just reframed it and said, actually, this is something different. But it also can get. I have to watch this for myself when you spend all this time training and getting these tools, and then you see somebody who's kind of depressed, and you're like, well, just do this. And you forget how bad it can be.
It took for years to figure that out.
It's like, but that's the role of the mentor now, isn't it? So, okay, I see where you are. Let's try and help you through. Cool. Because, I had mentors who helped me through. It's just, you've got to pay it back or pay it forward.
And I know you wrote a book, and was it after your experience that you wrote your book?
Yeah, kind of during. So yes, it was a year later. I was in the middle of it. I think it probably took me 2 years to shake it.
And you were targeting teens, is that right?
Yeah, it was because I'm a teacher. One of my day job is I'm a media lecturer, and it horrifies me how many teens are coming out of schools with mental health issues. Even if it's not full-on mental health issues, it's lack of confidence, it's just fear of the world, thinking they've got less options than they have. And so you can do anything. You can go to other countries, you can go live on beaches in Thailand and make money online. They don't know the options that are around them. And it's not anyone's fault, it's just that their parents have almost talking to them as though the world is the same as when they were young. It's like, that's changed. So they expect them to leave school, get a job, and do that job for the rest of their life. It's like, well, that's changed.
Yeah. Limitations get passed on unless someone challenges them.
That's an excellent way of putting it. Limitations get passed on. So I thought, well, okay, I've learned quite a bit here. I'm going to aim it at teens because, my depression probably manifested when I was a teenager. And it is just a fun kind of book. It follows the hero's journey. In fact, there's one behind. Well placed. So what I realized when I was depressed is the depression is like, don't read a book. It's a lot of work. There's so many words on the page. Don't do it. And I found Matt Haig's book really good because a lot of it was blank pages with just bullet points. So it's very short. It's only it's less than 100 pages. And it's short chapters. Like some of them are just a couple of pages, because then you get that feeling of like, oh, I read a chapter. So there's that accomplishment. But it's laid out. Like, it's called Level Up Your Teens, meaning level up your teenage years. And so it starts off with like, you are the hero of this quest, not an NPC, not a non-player character. Like, this is your life. There's like answering the call to adventure, which is, Obi-Wan Kenobi being like, R2-D2 being like, help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're many hands. Or Gandalf being like, you should come with me, but we don't want to do it because it's scary, but that's how we grow. Casting the spell of imprisonment is about limiting self-beliefs and all that kind of nonsense. And it's armor up, get your appropriate armor, your appropriate, these two walls on here help you feel strong, which is why I got it. Time travel, not in a good way, is about how we, why is time travel not in a good way? that we can't look after our future selves. So like, can you imagine if like you at 20 had been putting money aside and then came through life and was like, I love you so much, I've saved like 20,000. And we also create negative events in the future, and we just don't do it very well. Who is in your apocalypse squad? So that's about pulling your squad together. Like, who's going to help you deal? Like, again, the pressure's like the apocalypse. So who can you reach out to? And then it's why it's amazing to be adventuring now, why it's amazing to be alive. And then it's just tons and tons of recommendations, because I can't answer everything in a book. So there's like other books they should read. There's TED Talks that they should listen to. There's the people they should follow, because it needs to be kind of dripped in. But yeah, it's sold okay in the UK, not so much kind of outside of here, but it's a really fun read. It's got really good reviews on the UK Amazon. But that's the first step. It was like, because we don't understand how the world works. And thankfully, I had a mentor, but he said in the January, he was like, everyone should write a book. Everyone's got a book in them. It's really easy to do now. And teachers should do it, particularly because you've got a subject, basically. And I was like, okay, I'll do that. And that was my first step, getting that on Amazon. And then in Barnes & Noble, I was like, oh, the world isn't what I thought it was. Like, you have a lot more options and power than you think you have. Yeah. And it was my first step in being vulnerable, which is a leadership thing. The reason we love John McClane in the first Die Hard is because he's crying in the toilet, picking glass out of his feet. Then he becomes like a superhero in the follow-up ones. It's like, no, John, you're a beat cop that nearly died in the Nakatomi Plaza. You're not Arnold Schwarzenegger. Stop being invulnerable. And we see that with the Marvel movies, with like Thor crying now, Thanos crying, and vulnerability in Iron Man, having PTSD and alcoholism, and Captain America having a moral crisis. Like, no one likes Superman because he's a bit too perfect. We want the psychological mess of Batman. Yeah. And so as leaders, if you can just say, well, here's my pain, you're going to attract people to you who love you for who you are, and drive away the people who aren't interested in you.
Yeah. If I don't know if such a person exists or ever has, but if you were somehow a human being and you were born and you grew up and challenge free, and you were just always just the Zen master from moment one, I don't know that you'd be a very powerful leader.
No, exactly right. Yeah, exactly. You need to be kind of battle tested to a certain extent.
Until you have your own notion of your own resilience that you can overcome anything, it's hard to convey that or spread that idea.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly right. It's why, I guess people in the military get nervous when they get like a officer straight out of the academy. It's like, okay, he's done a lot of theory, but how's he going to act in battle? And all this is, again, it's taught all these ways of dealing with mental illness. Like the plan goes out the window with first contact with the enemy. It's like, I can be like, okay, when it comes again, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And then depression is like, boom! I'm like, whoa. Yeah. What am I supposed to do again?
Right. Yeah. The things we want to fight or battle, or the things that challenge us, they're resilient too.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why you want a big toolbox, and you want to always be looking for new ways and open to new books and mentors and ideas because there's no limit to how good we can feel. There's no limit to how freaking awesome life can be too. So,
and I've had moments when I'm just like euphoric. And I might be meditating more, and I think I'm making progress with that. That's a new thing for me. I've just become much more open-minded. I call it kind of woo-woo, and I'm just like, I love the idea. I just love all ideas right now. Like, there's a big kind of flat Earth movement, and everyone's like, oh, these guys are idiots. I'm like, well, why do I believe that? I believe that the Earth is round, but why do I believe that? Just because I've watched like Star Wars a ton of times and I was told it at school? Like, I don't know. I haven't studied it. I'm not like a scientist. I'm just told that it was. But then I think I'm more into like, why do you think it's flat? Like, I just want to know. Like, tell me more. And then I think, I almost hope you're right, because what a plot twist. I'm like, oh man, they got me, man. That's amazing.
That's something that I've certainly in younger days I did not like this, but I've grown to enjoy being wrong. Oh, I was wrong about what I thought. Awesome, that's so cool.
I know, right? Like, the world is so much more exciting. It's when you allow yourself to think that way and just be curious. Just be curious about all the wonderful things that can happen.
Yeah, when you realize there's no right or wrong to you being right or wrong.
Yeah.
It's just exploring and new levels and didn't know it was there till I went there, and
exactly.
it's all good.
And yeah, and I'm getting a little bit more interested in, like, I just think there's now potential for everything. I just think the world isn't what I thought it was. My mind isn't what I thought it was. So now I'm like, is the past life thing a real thing? I might go do that. I went to like a sound therapy session. I'm just curious about the whole world right now. And I'm just, I've met some amazing people, and, who knows what the truth is. Yeah. But I want to go experience stuff and work out for myself rather than just read in a book that's not true.
Yeah, the best way to learn is your own experience. And the one thing no one can, you're wrong, but no, that was my experience. Oh, yeah, well, exactly. You can't be, if you're living your experience and your vulnerability, your authenticity all comes from your experience, you can't be challenged on that. It's just like, doesn't mean this might not be your experience, might not work for you, but look, this is who I am, and these are things that helped me. Yeah,
exactly right. I had a pretty extreme experience with like a coach, like an energy healer, and he was doing like high-level neurolinguistic programming. So he was like, okay, we'll take me back into the past, into your past memories where you had depression with your wife, and what's there. He said, what do you look like? I was like, I'm not even human. I'm like a big werewolf, and I'm just scratching my wife. And he's like, okay, what do you want to do? I was like, I want to kill the werewolf. Let's go. And he was like, no, like, violence is wrong. It's like, you need to heal your wife first. I was like, okay. So I kind of did a sky, and it's all in your head. Sky a spell, and kind of healed my wife. And then the werewolf ran away, and my wife stood up, and she was fine. And then I came kind of back out of it. But what I'd basically done is healed that memory, so it doesn't impact me anymore. Like the guilt and shame went away a bit. Because our minds a lot of the time don't know the difference between fact and fiction, which is why if I think of food right now, I could salivate, my body would respond. If I think sexual thoughts, I'll get an erection. That's not real. That's just me thinking it.
Well, what's the difference?
Right.
Right. Whatever, real, and like, what's the, like, all our perceptions, everything you think is real is because your brain is deciding things. So
yeah,
like, because I hear there's people that, like, if they have a really vivid dream, oh, thank God it was a dream, it wasn't real. Well, who's to say? Like, what do you mean? What's real versus not? Like, yeah.
Exactly. You can wake up shaking in absolute fear. I mean, there's things that happen in dreams that are far scarier. And it was like idiotic. It's like, I've had a nightmare. Oh, what was it? I was like, oh, there was a beach ball on the chair. So why is that scary? I was like, I don't know. But I had absolute fear in that dream. It's like, what was the beach ball doing?
Yeah.
But
so maybe that's just it's a whole nother level of the game that we just aren't sure how it works.
Exactly right. And then I think, well, this is just my perception, like the way I perceive. Because I'm really interested, because people get very vain. It's like, well, what do I look like? I was like, you don't know what you look like. Like, this camera is processing light differently than our eyes are. Your eyes are probably processing light different than mine. Everyone's looking at each other from a different angle. Mirrors lie, I've had kind of girlfriends do this where they like mirrors in certain department stores because they're flattering, but they say, oh, don't go to that, don't go to the toilets in that restaurant. They're horrible. It's like, they make you look atrocious. It's like, they don't change the way you look. It's like, everyone wants that good lighting. So I don't know what I look like at all. And cats and dogs see on kind of different wavelengths. Cats see ultraviolet. So that's amazing. Dogs hear more than us. So I'm only perceiving like this much of the universe. There's so much I'm not seeing or not hearing or not feeling. How exciting is that? And I'm going to get emotional. I'm going to start making blanket statements about what the world is like. I don't know.
Cool. This has really been a lot of fun. But there was one title on your website I saw that I want to make sure and ask about. So tell me, what does your vasectomy have to do with leadership?
That's an excellent question. I think there's a ton of things. One is I was making a decision. I was getting involved in the decision-making process over contraception, whereas guys tend to hold back. We put, other than condoms, it's all on the woman, and they get to kind of decide. And I was like, actually, no, I'm going to make an adult decision. I'm involved in this conversation, and I'm going to research it and do it. Then there's the element of, so it's being involved, then it's the vulnerability. And you want to talk about heroes' journeys and stepping out of your comfort zone. Like, And then I've told guys I've had a vasectomy, and they're like, "Oh no, I can never do that," and they cross their legs. And I was like, I was chatting the whole time. And then it's a weird process, right? You're going in, taking off your trousers. It's like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to, yeah. But I was like, no, I don't think there's a thing. It's almost nothing we can do physically that makes us as vulnerable as that. And things can go, when you're researching it, you research the horror stories. It's like, oh, this is going to get bad. So yeah, it's the vulnerability, it's the getting involved in the discussion. And I'm sure there was another one. And it's gutsy. There's loads of different leadership gurus, but sometimes you've got to do a big gutsy move when you're a leader and stand up for something, I guess. And the vasectomy was kind of like that. But I like that article I read. That was fun.
Cool. So what's the best way for people to get in touch with you or see what you're up to?
I'm on all social medias. My website is at darrenhorne.com, Horne with an E. I'm on Facebook at darrenhorne77. I think I'm on LinkedIn and Twitter. It's just Darren Horne. And I'm probably on Instagram. I think that's darrenhorne77. But if you Google my name, I'm around because, I tend to do a lot of article writing and stuff. That you'll find me. And I'll add anyone. Like, you're all players in the game. I want to meet you. I want to know what you're up to. I want to see what your world views are. It's fantastic. I love connecting with people all over the world.
Cool. Awesome. So I'll be sure and get all the links to all things Darren Horne on the blog along with this episode. So people can check out realmenfeel.org for all those links if they're not finding it on their own. So what's next for you? What exciting gameplay might you have planned?
Well, I've been pausing because I've had to get through this separation and move house. But now I'm about to launch. And this is great because you've started me on with momentum again. So I'm going to get the consultancy up and running. I'm going to launch a video course on why you should write articles and how you get a book on Amazon. Because everyone's always saying that. Why do you write articles? How do you actually get a book on Amazon? But they need the exact step-by-step. Because it's pretty easy. But
it's very, I teach classes on that too. It's very easy. Yeah.
But it's like people don't want to pay for knowledge because it's everywhere. But what they need is a guide. And so it's okay, I'll walk you through this and give you encouragement and keep you on the path. I've become I'm on the board of trustees for a charity called KDAS, which is an addiction charity. So I'm delighted to be getting involved with them more. And I'm just going to start coaching and speaking more and exploring this new life. It's going to be exciting. But they're my main things. I'm going to start getting involved a lot more in my community as well.
Beautiful. So how old is your daughter?
2.5, and she is epic. It's the best thing. It's the best. It's just the best experience, and it's a constant test. Like, you cannot get emotionally involved. We never yell at her. I always get down to her level when she's upset. Because can you imagine how intimidating it is? I'm 6'4". She's like tiny. Like, she's always looking up. I'm like, I'll come down to you. And you stop being emotionally involved with stuff. Like, at one point, like, she threw something all over the floor. And my ex and I were like, okay, but let's go to the shops and do this. And then Evelyn wrecked something. And we were like, okay, I guess we're doing this now. Like, you can't yell at 2.5. Same with books, right? Like, she's amazing because she loves books. She loves reading. She don't quite read yet, but she loves it. And the reason we think we managed to do that is we never punished her if she tore books. Like, she was working out what they are. So they would rip. And we were like, okay, Puppet, try not to rip it. But we didn't yell at her because we wanted her to know that books are fun. And now she doesn't tear books anyway. But she loves it. And she loves reading the stories and reciting them. Like, you just mentioned my daughter. Like, I could do another hour just talking about how wonderful she is. But I think the biggest lesson we can learn is from you at 2 years old or 1.5, whatever, is you learn how to crawl, then walk and kind of color and play in a very short space of time. And not at any point did 1.5-year-old you or 1-year-old you say, walking's really hard, I'm going to stop and quit.
Yeah.
No adults ever done that. And yet as adults, we're like, oh, that's a bit tricky, I'm going to quit. Like, that's programmed into us.
Yep.
She'll get frustrated, but
there's not that level of frustration is one thing, but there's not the level of self-judgment. I'll never figure this out.
Yeah, exactly. And now she's really sweet, because she'll be struggling, and then she'll be like, Daddy, do it. And I was like, yeah, that's cool. Because if I'm struggling, with my website, I'm immediately on contact a friend, like, Tom, fix my website. So yes.
Cool. Awesome. Well, I'm excited to see what's next for you and everything that unfolds for her as well.
Yeah, no, right. She's well, one of the reasons we joked about having her is like no unborn child saved the world. And I keep joking, I'm like, she's the future savior of the universe. She's like the Sarah Connor that we need in the real world. So, and I feel like that's how I'm programming. Like we put lots of like warrior kind of imagery, like here's a Wonder Woman, here's like Moana, and here's all these strong young female role models that you're going to be surrounded with. It's going to be fun.
All right. Well, cool. All right. Well, before we go, I'm going to take a tip from your fan club. What's the breakfast idea?
The breakfast idea. Okay. I'm not sure which one he means. You need some horny enough to tell about the breakfast idea. I am not sure which one he means.
Oh, you have a lot of breakfast franchise ideas. Is that it? Or
CEOs? Newt, what are you talking about? I just had an idea that I would maybe start my own podcast from bed on like a Sunday morning, but I don't think that's
a podcast in bed targeting CEOs.
No, I don't know what you're talking about, Newt. Leadership CEOs. I don't remember that.
So you have so many great ideas. They don't even all register with you, but they register with others.
It's hard. I did a talk at a networking thing last week, which is called Business at Breakfast, but that's not the idea. So yeah, I don't know. It's pretty late where he is.
All right, we'll let him off the hook for that then.
Yeah.
Having late breakfast, he's getting lost.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Darren, I thank you very much for coming on and sharing your experience and your vulnerability and authenticity. Mm-hmm. It was a lot of fun talking to you. It's I love meeting guys that I really connect with and feel their passion. And it's hard to believe, like, really, you were depressed? And then like, oh yeah, I was too. Like, wow. So just again, proof that anyone can get through it, right?
Yeah.
It does get better. You just got to be willing to face it, and you can make changes. Yeah,
and we've become really good at hiding it. Because the depression doesn't want to be seen, right? It doesn't want you to start dealing with it. So it masks it quite well. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. It's been wonderful talking to you. It's the more we go into this kind of life, the more and more people, men I meet who are just sharing their experiences. Beautiful. And I think it should be something we're proud of. It's battle scars.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Show your scars, man. Yeah. Otherwise you haven't lived.
Yeah, really. Totally.
Yeah. Right. I mean, you talked about ending life with that as that clear water again.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of like, I want my body, bruised and beaten and can tell that it's been used, right? And
that.
Run hard and be put away wet, whatever it is. Cool. But so thanks again, and I want to thank all the members of your fan club that joined us today for the live. Thanks everyone joining us. Wherever you're listening to us, please post a rating, a review, a comment. Love to hear from you. Visit realmenfeel.org. Check us out on Facebook. Send us feedback, and we'll talk to you all again really soon. Thanks. Thank you for listening to Real Men Feel. Reach out to us at realmenfeel@gmail.com. Learn more about Andy Grant at theandygrant.com. Until next time, visit realmenfeel.org or the Real Men Feel Facebook group and share what you thought of this episode. Please give this podcast a review on iTunes, Google Play, or wherever you are discovering Real Men Feel. Visit goodmenproject.com for more of the conversations no one else is having.